Compass FM now. And the coordinator here in North Canterbury for Citizens Advice is Theresa Evans, and she joins us now. A very good morning to you, Theresa.
Good morning.
I believe, and I'm just going a little off script here, but Citizens Advice has been around a long, long time. I think since the end of the Second World War. Am I right?
That's right. In Rangiora, we've been going for, I think, about 42, 43 years. But it originated during the war as a way of supporting people through the Blitz, people who couldn't locate relatives. And then after the war, it was around new regulations and how food was distributed and where people could just find anything they needed, really.
Yep. Marvellous organisation. Thank goodness you're here, especially during times like now. We've just come out of level 4. Here we are in level 3. We've got, we've got national and local issues. For instance, I'm just going to throw a few words at you. Employment.
We've had a surge of people with employment problems, as you can imagine, and that includes a number of clients who've been made redundant with almost no process at all. And of course, employment law is still in place. So, and people have contracts or should have contracts, and so therefore employers have to be very careful about following the law. Other issues have included access to and use of the wage subsidy, rights when told to take leave or change work hours, and the rights of essential workers who have health concerns. Clients have also been turning to us in frustration at not being able to access support from Work and Income simply because they're unable to get in contact with them.
Yep, okay, right, so that's frustrating for them, but then they can come to you and get some assistance there. What about things like, food assistance? We all know already there's a surge in demand now for food parcels, that sort of thing. How can you help with that?
Well, we can direct people to food banks. Well, the way the system is working for Citizens Advice at the moment is that all calls to our 0800 number are being triaged around the country. So at the moment we're getting a lot of calls from out of area, for instance, and other areas vice versa. So if we can't find a food bank directly, I will email the relevant Citizens Advice Bureau for the client, and they will then get in touch with them, because it's always better to have the boots on the ground, people talking to them, because they will know the areas they live in, their circumstances, and what might best fit to help them in their needs.
Yep, I'm with you on that. Also, I'm very interested around tenancy issues at the moment under COVID-13, rents and all that sort of thing. Are you finding there's a demand for advice in that area?
We have. Initially, of course, we had people stuck between two tenancies in some cases and having to pay rent in more than one place. Also, as jobs started to dwindle, people were starting to struggle with rent payments, particularly those who were on the 80% subsidy. But of course, there's a gap between that and what they were earning earlier. So that reduced income has affected them. And there are instances of flatmates. Sometimes they've moved out. When we had the 2 days notice to go into level 4, I think people just vacated to get to a bubble where they felt safe, and often that's left maybe one person struggling to try and pay the rent that 4 people might have paid. Mm-hmm. And if you haven't got a landlord who's compassionate and that you're able to talk to, that can be difficult. There's also a range of concerning issues about tenancies being terminated, and even flatmates or boarders being asked to leave.
Wow, that's very distressing, somewhat disturbing to hear that, actually. So again, Citizens Advice will be able to help with advice there. What about migrants, Theresa? We've just had it in our news actually at 11 o'clock that a lot of our migrants, in fact 1 in 10 workers in New Zealand is a migrant, are struggling on temporary visas. They can't get home, the borders are closed, there's no flights. What's the situation there for our migrants?
Well, we've been supporting them as we can. The problem is that if they're on a work visa and have lost their jobs, they don't have access to any welfare support, and many are struggling. Well, I think all of them are struggling with basic costs of rent and food. So we're continuing to raise issues and concerns about this with the government. A lot of what we're doing is through our national database of client inquiries, whether it's migrant or tenancy or wages. We've got real-time insights and evidence of the issues that people are seeking help with during the crisis, and so we've been actively feeding this into central government to assist with planning and responsiveness us at the national level.
Oh, good to hear. Really good to hear. Because, if you are stuck in New Zealand and you probably want, at times like this, be back where you come from, back with your own family in your own town or village or city or whatever, you can't get there through no fault of your own, and you're kind of in limbo, aren't you? So it's good to know that you
That's
are...
right.
You are.
And it's actually been good to see the response of a lot of people in our community that have either taken people in or helped with food or reduced rent or found somewhere for them to live that means that they're not, their level of stress can be reduced. And then there are lots of agencies, in Waimakariri, the council, work very closely with the migrants and newcomers, as do we. So we're doing what we can at a national level to support what's going on a local level as well.
Yep, good to hear, because we've got lots of migrant workers here in North Canterbury, of course, Theresa. One last question. I'm going to go a bit off script here, and I know that with Citizens Advice, if you can't answer it on the spot, then you do your best to get an answer. But with the wage subsidy thing, let's say someone's on they've just worked 20 hours, they qualify for the $585 a week, but normally for 20 hours they might only receive, let's say $500. What happens to that $85? Is the employer, should they pass that on, the full amount, or can
My
the
understanding, and again, generally we won't answer questions without researching, so and I haven't got the page open, but I think as a general rule of thumb, I think that the subsidy is expected to be passed on in full to the employee.
Yep.
But we could, if anyone has concerns about that, if they ring our 0800 number, we can research the current situation for them and give them a better answer than I'm giving you at the moment. I can only give you a general one because we're always told never to answer off the top of our head.
I know.
Everything is researched.
And John's put you on the spot, and I apologise for that.
That's all right. I don't mind.
But
I can dance around with the best of them.
Yeah, well,
to give a general inquiry, but for us to do our best work, we need the time to research, because there's no point in us giving information if it's not accurate, because the whole point of us doing the work we do is that we can support our clients in the best way that we can.
Yep, I'm with you, Theresa. Fantastic. Thank you so much. You're welcome back on Compass FM anytime. Brilliant.
Thank you. I enjoy being on. It's a good opportunity for us to let people know what we do, and we really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, great to have you on board. Theresa Evans, everybody, the coordinator for the Citizens Advice Bureau here in North Canterbury.